Hello, I'm Landon Schlungen, and today we are going to make the issue tracker on FreeCodeCamp. And this project is really long, and if you watch the whole video, you are sure to learn a lot because I certainly did learn a ton when I was making this. And let's get started with it. It's got to be functionally similar to this one right here, where we can submit an issue and then update an issue and delete an issue. And if we go to this API test route, then it brings up all the issues on the API test project. And if we type in like projects, then this brings up a new set of projects that we can, or issues for the project. So if I do like, I don't know, calc, the project calc has no issues, but I can add an issue by just adding something in here, submit it, and then it shows up under the calc project. So yeah, we're gonna be doing some sub-documents and some really cool stuff with Mongoose. So stay tuned for that. And let's, what we want to do is, I'm going to be cloning the GitHub repo and then completing it on Visual Studio Code. So go to the GitHub repo, and where it says code, we want to copy the HTTPS part. So copy that, and then go into Visual Studio Code. Also make sure you have Git installed. Make sure you're in the right folder that you want to put it in. And then we do git clone, and then that link to the boilerplate project on GitHub. And then we hit enter, clone it in, and here we have it. It's this boilerplate project. And we can check the package JSON, see what we have. We have mongodb.env, we have cores, body parser chai. All this looks good. We need Mongoose in here as well, and I also want to install Nodemon. So to do that, we'll cd first into the boilerplate project, and we will do npm install, and we will install Mongoose, and we will also install Nodemon so that it restarts our server every time, and we don't have to do it manually. There we go, we have those installed, Nodemon and Mongoose. So that's perfect. Next thing we want to do is we want to set up our env data. So we're going to make a .env file, copy over whatever is in the sample env, and then we can delete the sample.env. So there we go. We're going to be using Mongodb Atlas for this, and Mongoose, yeah. So to get Mongodb Atlas going, we'll just go to Mongodb Atlas, and it's this one right here. And make sure you sign in and log in. And here we go, here's my cluster. To connect to the cluster, we hit connect and then connect your application, and we grab this string here. We take that and we paste it into our database connection URI here. And then whatever you have for your password, put in your password, and then whatever database you want to put it in your database name. So I will do that quick, and I don't want to show you my password, so yeah. Next thing we want to do is actually connect to our database. So I'm going to actually make another file for that. I'm going to call this file dbconnection.js. And this is where we're going to connect to our MongoDB Atlas database. So the way we can do this is by grabbing Mongoose with const mongoose equals require mongoose, and then const db equals mongoose.connect, and we do process.env.db, and make sure it's uppercase db, whatever it's called in your .env file, and then add these options as well. And then we want to module.exports the database. So save that. And then in server.js, we can actually require it. So we can just do require, and we'll grab that file. So we'll go ./dbconnection so that it connects right away. We're going to do most of our work in this routes API.js file with this get request, post request, put, and delete requests. But now that we are connected to our database, we want to make our models. And our model is going to be similar to, our model is going to have an issue title, issue text, created on, updated on, created by, assigned to, open, and status text. And then also we're going to have another model of project, which has the project name and then the issues that it has. So to do this, I'm going to actually make another file and name it models. So we're going to go models.js. And then what we want to do is we want to get Mongoose. We want to get the schema from Mongoose. And then we want to make our issue schema, which has our issue title, issue text, created on, updated on, created by, assigned to, open, and status text. 3 of these are required: issue title, issue text, and created by. And then we have our issue model by doing mongoose.model, and then we name it issue, and we pass in the issue schema. And then we also have the project schema, which has the name of it and it also has an array of issues inside of it. And then we export both of these by doing exports.issue equals issue, exports.project equals project. And then we're going to be using these models inside of our API file. So make sure to save that. And then in our API file, we're going to import these. So yeah, we import them by doing const issue model equals require and then / models to get out of this folder and then into the models file. And we grab issue out of that by doing .issue. And the same thing for the project model. So to start with, I think we're going to start with the post request to actually make an issue, because we can't really get any issues without making them first. Probably want to do that first. So for the post request, we first want to do this stuff right here. We want to grab the issue title, issue text created by assigned to and status text from the rec.body, because that's what gets put in to the body when we actually submit it. And then when we want to say if there's no issue title, issue text, or created by, then we return an error of required fields missing, and that's what FreeCodeCamp says to do. So yeah, if you send a post request to API issues project name without the required fields, returned will be error required fields missing. So that's why we did that. And then we return right after so that it doesn't send another res.json later. And then we also start making our issue. The issue that we make has our issue title. If there's no issue title, then we just do empty string. Same with issue text. Created on and updated on are both new date, which will get the current date and put it in there. Created by, we do the same thing as the other ones. Assigned to, same thing. Open will stay true, because right when we open it, the issue, it will always be true at the start. And then status text, same as the others. Next thing we have to do in this post request is we have to grab our project model, and we have to find one project with the name given. So the name is given in this let project equals rec.params.project. And the project name is, in this case, it's API test for the FreeCodeCamp one. But if I put in, like /calc, that would be the project name for that. So it tries to find that by doing find one and then the name of the project, and then we do error and then the data. If it doesn't find one, then we actually need to make a new project and put the new project name in there. And then we want to push a new issue onto that new project. So we do new project.issues.push new issue, the new issue that we made. And then we save it with new project.save. If there is an error, then we say there was an error. Otherwise, we respond with the new issue. Otherwise, if we do find a project with that name, then we just push it on, and there's no need to make a new project. We just push it on the existing project, and then we save it, same as this part right here. And that's all we have to do for making a issue. So now let's try this out. I'm going to actually start this up now. We will do, well, actually first inside of our package.json, I want to add another script here, which is dev. And this will do Nodemon server.js, and it will start up our project. So now if I go down into the terminal, I can do npm run dev, and it will start up our server on port 3000. So now if I go up here, localhost 3000, open it up, and we have this thing, and I should be able to submit tests on API test. So if I put in some text here and submit the issue, it creates it, and then it sends back the information on it. And if I go into Mongodb Atlas, we should see a new post there. So if I go to collections, and I name this one issue tracker 2, and the projects, we have our one project in here with the API test, and it has an array of issues. And the one issue we have in there is something with some of the text that I just put in and the date that I just put it in on. So if I add another one, it should show up here. So why not? I'll just add in some more text here and submit it. And if I refresh this, it'll show up. So there we go. We have two objects inside of this issues array, which is the two issues that are for API test. And the issues are a subdocument of the projects, which is the API test. So yeah, pretty neat there. Next thing I want to do is be able to get some projects. So I'm gonna do the get route for this now. All right, here's the get route. The get route is kind of complicated. First, we get all of our different queries that we can be able to do, because they want us to be able to do question mark, open, true, and like assign to Joe, and then it will filter out all the ones that are similar to this. Like you can see in this API/issues/API test, if we do open, true, and assign to Joe with it. So if I go here and then do question mark, open equals true and assign to Joe and hit enter, then we just get this one that's assigned to Joe and its open is true. If I do open equals false, then none of them show up because that one's assigned to Joe isn't false. If I get rid of that, then it will just bring up the ones that are open of false, and that's what we want to be able to handle. And the way I handle this is by doing an aggregate function on our model, on our project model. We do .aggregate, and then we can just chain on a bunch of different commands. So we want it to match our project name first, right? So the API test first, it matches that. And then it unwinds the issues inside of it. So it gets the issues, and then it matches, if there's an ID present in the query, then it will match that ID. Otherwise, it won't match anything, and it will just do all of them like normal. If open is true, then it will match open. If there's an issue title, it will match that, and same with all the other ones. And then at the end, we do execute. So .execute, and we do error in data. If there's no data, then we return an empty array. If there is data, then we have to do this map data, and we have to basically just get the issues out of it, because otherwise it would bring up like the project name for all of them as well. So yeah, if I get rid of this line and save it and go into my local host and I do this, project name is undefined. Oh, I see. I have to do project name instead of project tier, and then save it, and it will restart with Nodemon. And now if I refresh, apparently I can't connect. Map data is not defined. Oh, oops. So yeah, if I do res.json data, so just the data that's passed in, then you see I get the ID and the name of API test for all of them, and we don't want that. We want it just an array of all the issues for that project. So yeah, that's why I have to do that. That's why I have to do let map data equals data.map and map it so that it looks a little different. So now if I save it and go back to my local host and I refresh, then I just get an array of the issues, which is what I want. And I have all the filtering built in, which is great as well. So that is the GET request. To test these out, we can test it out on FreeCodeCamp. So might as well, so that it works for the FreeCodeCamp tests. So if I paste it in and run it, here we can see I completed the post request one and the GET request test on FreeCodeCamp as well. Now I need to pass the put request ones and the delete request ones, and then we have to do the 14 functional tests, which are kind of annoying to do, but whatever. So next up we have the put request. So right now I have it empty. And let's see what we have to do for this one. First of all, we want to do a bunch of checks. So first we get everything out of the rec.body and we check if there's no ID, then we just do error missing ID. If there's no fields present, then it just says no update field sent, and it gives the ID that was sent as well. So those are the odd cases, I guess, if they are missing an ID or if there's no update field sent. Also, there's a case if they send the wrong ID and the ID doesn't work for any of them. That case is coming up here. So yeah, once we do no update field sent, then we grab our project model and we find the project, right? We have to do that every time. If it can't find the project name, then it says could not update. But if it can, then we grab the issue data by doing project data.issues.id, and we put in the ID, and that ID is used to grab that issue associated with the ID. And this is where it comes in. If there's no issue data, then it just says could not update because they sent the wrong ID, basically, and that ID is invalid. If it passes all of those tests, then we actually get to update it. We grab the issue title and we make it the issue title that was sent. If there is no issue title, then we just have it stay the same. So that's what that does. And we do it for all of the other ones, except for updated on. We just grab the present date and put it in there. Makes sense. Open, whatever they put for open, and then we save it. And then we save it on project data. Once we save it, then it saves all the changes that we made, and it returns successfully updated. So now if I save this, we should be able to test it out. Go into my local host. If I actually go forward and I grab the ID of this one and copy it and go back, and I do update issue on API test, paste it in, and I do the title, got updated. The text is I'm updated and created by Landon, and we submit this issue. Then it says successfully updated. If I go to the examples now of issues API test, you can see that it got updated. The issue title, issue text, and the created by has changed, and that is looking fantastic. So there we go. Now we know that that works. Now we need to be able to delete an issue by passing in an ID. The delete part is probably the easier route. It's still quite long, but it's actually pretty simple. First, we grab the ID out of the body. If there's no ID, then we do missing ID. Otherwise, we find the project that we're in. If we can't find the project, we do could not delete. Otherwise, we find the issue that that ID corresponds with. So this is a lot like the put request, except we're deleting this time. And we just do issue data.remove, and that will remove that issue from the array. And then we save the project data, and we say successfully deleted, and we pass in the ID to that as well. And so yeah, that's not too bad at all. So now we should be able to pass all FreeCodeCamp's tests besides the last two. So if I go into here, I should actually show you that it works. So if I grab this ID and I copy it, and I'd go delete issue, paste in the ID, delete the issue, it says successfully deleted, and I go into here and it's gone. So here you see it works. Pretty awesome if you ask me. And yeah, so if I grab the localhost 3000 and I put it in the FreeCodeCamp tests and I run it, it actually says this put request is not working, which is odd because I just showed it working. But yeah, this all 14 functional tests are complete and passing. That's a little bit annoying, so I'll probably just copy and paste that as well. Otherwise it would take quite a while. It's weird that this test isn't passing because when I did it before it was passing. So let's see what could be wrong there. Oh, object ID is not, okay, I know why. Inside of our GET request, we have this object ID, and this is so that it matches the ID when we try and get it. And I had to do this because it wasn't grabbing the normal string. And to grab this object ID part, it's actually a require from Mongoose, I think. Yeah, so what it is we grab the object ID equals mongoose.types.objectID, and now that should work for the ID for that. And I think that's the only spot I use it, so I don't know why it wasn't working for put, but yeah, I just needed that, and now it should be able to pass all the tests. So let's try it again. So yeah, there it passed all the tests except for the last one, which is the 14 functional tests are complete and passing. And to do that, we go into our tests and our functional tests, and we just start going to town on these tests. The tests that we need to do are these ones right here. We need to be able to create an issue with every field. So yeah, we have to test that. We have to test creating with only required fields. We need to test it with only missing required fields. We need to test it with viewing the project, viewing issues on a project with one filter, with multiple filters, be able to test updating one field, updating multiple fields, updating with missing ID, updating an issue with no fields, updating an issue with an invalid ID, delete an issue with an invalid ID, and delete an issue with a missing ID. All these tests we have to do. And so yeah, I did it, and it's like 200 or 300 lines long. So I'll just bring that over quick and we'll take a look at it. So yeah, the first test, I made a suite with the 3 post request tests. And so we are posting to projects, and we're making an issue, and then we're checking that it gets sent back with the right stuff. And then we test the required fields. So now I only have these 3 in there, and I check that all of those are sent back correctly. And then I do it with the missing required fields. So now these 2 are missing, and it says required fields missing. And then we do our GET request tests. So I made a new route for this, and I put in some data, and the project is test data ABC123. So yeah, I went there and I put in like 4 different issues just so that I wouldn't like make more issues on that same project. And I just check that the length is 4. I check with one filter. If I sent this ID in there, then it should bring back this issue, just this issue, the first issue. And then with multiple filters, I do issue title, hey, issue text testing, and it should bring back this issue here. So that works there. The put request tests, there's 5 of them. Update one field on an issue. So I updated the issue title. and it should bring back successfully updated and the ID. Update multiple fields. This one I made another project for it, test data put, and I can put in like one issue and then update it and do stuff with it. Update multiple fields on an issue. So I do title and text, and those should successfully update as well. Update an issue with missing ID. So there it doesn't have an ID and it should bring back missing ID. Update an issue with no fields. It should bring back no update fields sent because I don't send any update fields. Update an issue with an invalid ID. So right here, this is an invalid ID because I added some numbers and stuff, and it just says could not update. The delete request tests, there's 3 of them. Delete an issue straight up, it just says successfully deleted. The delete ID that I do is actually from up here. I have let delete ID, and it's this first post request that I make, this first post request that I make. I do delete ID equals res.body.id. So then once I make this, I delete it later in the test cycle. So yeah, that's the one that I delete so that it's always there. And then I delete an issue with an invalid ID. So here I added in invalid, so it's an invalid ID and it just says could not delete. And then delete an issue with a missing ID. Here I don't send anything and it just says missing ID. To have these tests run, we actually have to change a variable in our .env file. It's called Nodemon. Basically just comment it, or delete the comment on it, and then it should run the test automatically. And then we should actually like restart our server. So do Control-C and then npm run dev again, and then it should run our tests. So now it's running our tests, and a bunch of these don't work because because I have to set up the route. This was for my other one, so I'll do that quick, I guess. So yeah, it's having trouble with these GET request tests. The test data ABC123. So I want to actually grab that route and go into my local host. And if I go to that route, I can make some issues on it. And I'll say, I don't know, get issue created by Landon, submit issue. And then I can do another one, something ASDF created by ASDF, submit issue. I'll do hey, ASDF, submit issue. I'll do something, issue created by Landon, submit issue. So there we go. We have 4 of them in here now. And then I can basically just copy some of this stuff, some of this information into my testing, and then make them pass, and then I can actually complete the FreeCodeCamp project. So basically if I do this ID, then I should get back this object. So if I go /API/issues/ test data ABC123, and then I do question mark ID equals this ID, then we just get this one issue back, and I can just copy this object. And I can copy it here, put it in, and now that one should work. Next step, if I do 2 filters. So for this one, I'll do issue title and issue text of hey and ASDF. If I go issue title and issue text, it brings up this one, and I can copy this one and paste it in here, and it will be issue title of hey, issue text of ASDF, and now that one should pass as well. For the put requests, I need to go to test data put and make an issue there. So I'll go here, go to that route, test data put in a new issue, something ASDF created by ASDF, submit. There we go. I need the ID, and I need to paste that into pretty much all of those tests, or at least a couple of them. So here we go. I put in this ID here and the ID here as well. And then I put the ID here as well. Basically replace the IDs. And then missing ID, those ones should be fine. No update fields sent. This one I should change. And then invalid ID, that's fine as well. And now all my tests should pass. So I'm gonna save it. I mean, I hope all my tests pass at least. And heck yeah, all 14 are passing now. So yay, now I can actually complete this on FreeCodeCamp. Now if I grab my local host and I say I've completed it, it'll run them all, and there we go. We completed the issue tracker. The next quality assurance project is a personal library. Don't know what to do with this one. Looks like we're going to be using MongoDB, and it has to be similar to this, where we can post to API/books, and we can test it and comment on it, and then our front end, we can submit a new book and select a book to see its details and comments. And then we can delete all books, like looks like as well. Okay, That seems really similar to the issue tracker, honestly, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, we can make our CSS look a lot better here, but that's some effort that I'd rather put in later and not into this video. And you can make it look however you want to make it look. I think all you have to do is going to the CSS file or the pug file. Let's see here, the public folder style.css. You can change a bunch of the styles here. And into the views, yeah, these are the views that you can change to make it look a lot nicer. Like add in some classes into these H1s and whatnot to make it look a lot nicer. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I explained all this stuff well enough. This aggregate function I got stuck on for like 2 hours because it was confusing the heck out of me. Another thing I got confused on was just subdocuments in general for Mongoose. So yeah, don't feel bad if it's not coming to you right away. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.